All right, let's talk about something you probably do every single day without even thinking about it. We're going to dive into this really fascinating corner of design and psychology, and it all has to do with the secret life of buttons.
You know the feeling, right? You're in a rush, you get in an elevator, and you're just mashing that closed door button hoping to save like 2 seconds. But has that little voice in the back of your head ever piped up and asked, "Hey, does this thing actually do anything?"
Well, here's the crazy part. A lot of the time, it does absolutely nothing. Yep, that button you were just hammering away at, it's probably a placebo. And hey, if you've fallen for it, don't feel bad. We all have.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain a little bit. We're going to look at some of the most common phantom controls that are, hiding in plain sight right in front of us.
First up, of course, is our old friend, the elevator closed door button. So in a lot of countries, because of safety rules and automatic timers, this button has actually been deactivated for years. Its real job isn't about speed at all. It's there to give you a sense of control, to kind of reduce that anxiety you feel while waiting. It's basically a comfort button.
And you know what? It's the exact same story at a lot of street corners. You push that crosswalk button, right? And maybe it even lights up or makes a little noise. But so often, the traffic lights are just running on a fixed timer anyway. The button's whole purpose is psychological. It's designed to make you feel like the system heard you, which makes that wait feel way less frustrating.
So this all begs a really interesting question, doesn't it? I mean, why would designers intentionally build these little illusions, these buttons that do nothing into our tech? Well, it turns out there's a very, very powerful psychological reason behind it all.
And this whole concept actually has a name. It's borrowed straight from the world of medicine, which is pretty cool. It's called a placebo interface. You can literally think of it as tech's version of a sugar pill.
So at its core, a placebo interface is really all about one thing, giving you the illusion of control. It's there for psychological reassurance. I mean, think about it. It works just like a sugar pill in medicine, right? A patient can feel better just because they believe it's working. And in the same way, these interfaces just make us feel a little better when we're dealing with systems that are totally out of our hands.
See, the whole psychological trick here is that our brains are just wired to feel less frustrated if we believe our actions actually matter. It's this powerful thing called the illusion of control. We just have this fundamental human need to feel like we're influencing what's happening around us. We want to see that something's happening, that progress is being made, even if it's not really real.
All right, so why do designers even bother with these illusions? It's definitely not just for kicks. They have really specific and honestly pretty helpful goals in mind when they put these little tricks into the system.
It pretty much boils down to these 4 main things. By giving us a button to push or a progress bar to watch, designers can cut down on our frustration, they help us be more patient while we wait, they give us that all-important feeling of being in control, and at the end of the day, it just makes the whole experience feel a lot smoother and calm.
Oh, and here's a perfect example you've definitely seen. Think about a software loading bar. The one that inches forward steadily and then suddenly jumps from like 90% to 100% in a split second. Well, a lot of the time, that movement is totally fake. It's just calculated to look smooth. And why do they do that? Simple. Because if it just froze on you, you'd probably think the whole thing crashed and you'd just give up. That little illusion of movement is what keeps you from hitting cancel.
But this whole thing brings up a really serious question. Is this kind of design just a helpful little psychological trick, or is it basically just deception? And this is where things get interesting, because there's a really important ethical debate here.
This debate really boils down to 2 different ways of looking at it. On one side, you've got the pragmatic view. These folks would say, look, if a harmless little illusion reduces stress and makes tech easier to deal with, what's the big deal? It's all about our emotional comfort. But then on the other side, you have the ethical transparency view. And this side argues, wait a minute, it's still a lie. They'd say that by hiding how systems actually work, designers are slowly chipping away at our trust in technology as a whole.
So, how do we figure out where to draw the line? When is this okay, and when is it not? Well, the answer, like it is for so many things, really comes down to 2 words: context and consequence. Okay, so the ethical line seems to be drawn right here. A placebo interface is probably fine when the stakes are super low. If it's just about making a boring wait a little less annoying, it's not causing any real harm. But it absolutely crosses into unacceptable territory when the stakes get high. We're talking about situations where it could manipulate important decisions, like with your finances or your health, and cause actual real-world harm. A fake loading bar? That's one thing. Fake financial data? That's a whole different and much more dangerous ballgame. Ultimately, it all circles back to this one core idea.
And it's a great quote, "Humans care not only about what systems do, but also how they feel while using them." That just perfectly nails the heart of the issue, doesn't it? Good design has to think about human emotion. It's got to find that really delicate balance between giving us psychological comfort and just being straight up honest.
So if we're going to wrap this all up, here's the key takeaway. Those little, harmless illusions, the ones that just make our daily weights a tiny bit more bearable, they're probably fine. The real danger zone is when these same tricks are used to mislead us about stuff that actually matters, because that's when you start to break that fundamental trust between a person and the technology they're using.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. The next time you push one of those buttons or you're watching a loading bar creep across the screen, you'll be in on the secret. You'll know what might really be going on behind the scenes. So now that you know, where do you draw the line between something that's a helpful comfort and something that's a harmful deception? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.